Today, let's talk about a potential start of a new trend that is occurring right now with investable tokens in the cryptocurrency market. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Crypto Bobby. I hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching or listening in from. And yeah, today I want to talk about what just went down this morning with Numerai or NMR and how a prominent or two prominent venture capital crypto funds, whatever we want to call them, two prominent crypto native funds invested not in NMR equity, but in the NMR token, and how that affected things and how it is similar in many respects to what happened in the past with MakerDAO's MKR token and A16Z, and how this is actually a strategy that you might be potentially able to play and we might see continue to happen more and more into the future. Maybe not, but we'll talk about that. If you haven't yet signed up for HXRO and the waitlist that they have right now, make sure to head to cryptobobby.com/rect. If you go there, the waitlist, they're slowly opening it up to a bunch of people. You get to play Moonrect. If you sign up through my link, you get $10 of free tokens to play with. And I also get $10 of free tokens, not sponsored, but helps me, helps you. It's a super fun game. I've been loving playing it recently. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the main guys on crypto Twitter are on there and really all over the place. So make sure to head to cryptobobby.com/rect. See you there. Let me know if you sign up through the link and what you're betting on, and we'll definitely get some things rolling there as well. So in case you've never heard of Numerai before, they've been around for a while. They are a crypto project with the NMR token, and they work in hedge fund and prediction markets and the data associated with hedge funds and financial predictions. And one of the reasons that I think that this news story and the chart as well is very interesting, at least in my personal opinion, is because this is a potential type of strategy or trend that affects not just the larger investors, the people that have access to just either extensive capital or a lot of behind the scenes knowledge. This provides access, I think, for, in many cases, retail investors, smaller investors to potentially profit off of, and I'll tell you why. So when we look at this, Numerai has been around for over a year. They have a token in the marketplace. They also have when it comes down to doing an ICO for a lot of these companies, they would do an ICO and maybe they have 35% they'll sell to the public and the other 35% they might keep for future reserves or for team activity, whatever it might be. In many respects, these companies that have done those types of token sales have a large amount of tokens in their treasury, but when it comes down to it, they're never going to sell those, or hopefully they're not going to sell those. Most of them are not selling those tokens directly onto the marketplace because they're going to crash the price of their token because there's not enough demand. Conversely, if a larger investor by any stretch wants to get into a smaller token out there, it's hard to scale into those tokens with any level of size because the volume simply isn't there. For example, Numerai, the token that we're talking about right now, NMR, which is traded on a number of, I would say, like the legit exchanges. You have Bittrex, you have Poloniex, then it's on a few different decentralized exchanges, DDEX, IDEX, etc. But so it's on Bittrex, it's on Poloniex, and the average volume in the past few days prior to this happening has been anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000. So very low volume. Today it's up to about $260,000 on the news, but very low volume token. Like I said, between $10,000 and $50,000. So with this story, you have two firms. You have Paradigm, which is founded by an ex-Sequoia partner, as well as Fred Ersham, who is the former co-founder with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. And you have Placeholder VC, which is run by Joel Monegro, Chris Pernisky, and a few other people. Essentially, both Paradigm and Placeholder looked at the tokens and looked at what was happening with Numerai. They have an upcoming product release that's happening, and rather than buying equity, which is something that is not available to most people, obviously it would be available potentially to Paradigm or to Placeholder if they really wanted to. I'm sure there'd be a way for them to get equity, but they, instead of trying to buy equity or trying to buy something that was inaccessible, they went and they purchased $11 million worth of tokens directly from the team. And again, the reason the volume is important here is because if Paradigm or Placeholder wanted to purchase $11 million worth of NMR tokens, that would have taken forever with the level of volume and the depth of the market book. If we look here, I mean, there's anything from $17,000 worth of daily volume to $7,000 to $53,000. They never would have been able to purchase $11 million worth. And because that happened, you see the price of NMR up today about 14%. It's been up, at least against the USD. It's up 15% against Bitcoin, 16% against Ethereum. But why is this interesting? Why is this helping? So the money that they are providing, both Placeholder and Paradigm, according to the Numerai team, it's going to help them to hire engineers. They're in the process of, they already have a platform, but they're in the process of launching a more decentralized version of said platform. And the way that Placeholder looks at it, Joel Monegro, one of the partners there, says, the way we think about our investing in decentralized crypto networks is underwriting and capitalizing the network. As more people, in this case, come to buy and sell data from each other, the role of big financial investors like ourselves will actually diminish over time. Then we can gradually begin to exit our position as the network becomes self-sustaining. So kind of in the beginning, they're adding fuel to the fire. The fire gets large. They, at some point in time, are able to slowly exit out of their position as the fire kind of grows and grows and grows. And they're able to kind of hopefully exit their position without bringing the whole thing down. So why does this matter to you? Why does this matter to me? Well, number one, for a lot of us, we're never going to have access to seed investments. You're never going to have access to legit venture capital deals. And in this case, it's not a venture capital deal. It is already a liquid token that's traded on the marketplace. So this is something that you either have the opportunity to kind of trade alongside, or you can kind of bet with it. So in this case, I think it's interesting because when the announcement came out, when this article was published, it was published at about 11 a.m. Eastern time. The price actually spiked up about 16% against Bitcoin. It's since come down a bit. It's up about 6% after a little bit of a sell-off recently, but the price has come down somewhat. But when we're looking at this, why does this matter? 6% right now, up 16%. Is this something that's even sustainable, especially when you look at where the chart's been? It's up pretty nicely in the past few months. Well, when I think about this, I look back a little bit to what happened in the past with MakerDAO and A16Z. So if we look and see here, this was from September 24th, and this was a very similar scenario where A16Z actually purchased 6% of MKR, which is the governance token that backs DAI. And this is something that they ended up purchasing, that the 6% of the total Maker token supply as an investment, and that's something to participate in that ecosystem, to help govern that ecosystem. If you're not familiar with Andreessen Horowitz or A16Z, it's Andreessen Horowitz, probably one of the most famous venture capital firms around. And this has happened, at least at this point in time, at a minimum of twice that has been published. And why this kind of relates to NMR and why it also might be unique in the future as we continue to go forward. So since the announcement of A16Z investing or buying 5% of the total MKR supply, you see that over the past 170 days, MKR is actually up against Bitcoin 150%, to be exact, 149.93%. So it's done really well. Granted, there have been a number of different altcoins that have done well in a similar time frame recently, but at a high level, it has done very well, and it has outperformed a good amount of assets, certainly outperformed Bitcoin over the time frame. So that's been definitely nice to see, at least from my perspective, and does give a glimpse into what's possible with NMR as you look at the opportunity there. Now, for me personally, I did, when we look at NMR and I saw the news today, I did open up a position when the announcement happened. I saw it on CoinDesk. I saw nothing really happen. Nothing really moved for the first 30 minutes or so. So I was like, you know what? Hey, why not? I'll buy a little bit of this. I'll see what happens. It ended up spiking about 15%. I'm going to hold on to it for the ride right now, see what ends up going on with Numerai. And if it might continue to roll, I'm not going to say that it's going to go up another 150%. When you look at the overall size of Numerai and the people backing it, I think that for them, it's a long-term investment. They're obviously looking at appreciation of their tokens and kickstarting the network. So that's something that I'm just going to decide to bet alongside and see where it takes me. Now, this is something I think that we might continue to see happen with these crypto funds that are interested in, because for a lot of these, the ICO market, it's not totally dead, but there aren't as many opportunities anymore. And this is almost in some respects like a Series B round. If we're comparing it to venture capital, you had the ICO somewhat being like the Series A. And now it's like a secondary offering of these tokens. And it's at the point where you have these projects that maybe were worth whatever, 500, 100, $1 billion. And now we're coming back to down to realistic valuations and realistic offerings, or even below market value. And some of these VC firms are looking to buy up some of those tokens, or some of the very high quality ones, especially some of the smaller cap tokens that I think might have a possible appreciation opportunity. And I do think we might continue to see this happen on a consistent basis, especially with what happened with MKR, potentially what might happen with Numair. Something I'm keeping an eye on as a potential profit opportunity to kind of piggyback alongside some of these firms. It's not often where I think Spencer Noon had a good point. There's some issues with the overall coin market cap. Shocking. Coin market cap doesn't potentially have the right market cap for Numair, but Spencer says it's very rare the public markets can get in on crypto deals made by top VC firms, but you can actually buy NMR today on exchanges like Bittrex and Poloniex. And he tweeted this at 9:46 a.m. I guess just when this broke, so I had the timing a little bit messed up, but just when it broke. And I completely agree with him. I think that this is really interesting because it provides an opportunity, like I said before, for the average Joe to play alongside one of these larger investors and bet with them in a similar quality deal. Perhaps they got in a little bit earlier. Perhaps they got in at a discount for buying in bulk, which I'm sure they did. I'm sure they got a somewhat of a discount for buying in the size that they did. But at the same point in time, you're still getting access to the same opportunity, which is interesting for many people. At least for me, it is. Outside of that, folks, I am sitting back praying Bitcoin can get back over $4,000 and we can actually build up some steam from there. And just watching my Tezos fly. It's been fun seeing Tezos up 50+% in the past 7 days. Granted, your boy still needs like a 3x to break even, so we're not going to get into those things. We're not going to get into the fact that, hey, maybe I need a 3x for XTZ to break even, but I've been baking. It's fine. We're good. I've made a few XTZ here and there, so I'm happy about it. But I hope you enjoyed this video, this conversation on why I think what's happening with Numair and these VC firms is interesting, and would love to hear your thoughts in the YouTube comments below or on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're listening on the podcast right now, make sure to leave a rating and a review. Thank you so much for your time. Crypto Bobby signing out. Peace.